Texas seeking their third AP Top 10 win of the season, going up against number 3 Texas A&M in the fourth. Arch Manning calls his own number, 35 yards. The Longhorns go up 27-17, and they can taste a victory. Cooper Manning, his dad, ecstatic. Aggies, though, can they make a comeback? Marcel Reed, intercepted by Michael Taft. Oh, and Texas takes down number 3 Texas A&M 27-17, and this was a tale of two halves because through the first two quarters, it was 10-3 Texas A&M. And then the Longhorns scored 24 points in the second half to the Aggies just 7. And man, this is going to shake things up for the college football playoff. And with that, we welcome in CBS Sports NFL analyst, football analyst, Emory Hunt. And Emory, see, I'm just so excited. I'm getting all my words mixed up, you know what I'm saying? But all jokes aside, Texas doing this the way they started this game, I'm sure you did not expect this result coming out once you saw that first half, right?
I did not, because we saw Texas A&M's defense. We was laughing about this while I was like, man, they must have did something personal to the Aggies because how they were attacking and teeing off on Arch Manning. And so when we saw that defense got there and just looked like the old school wrecking crew of that defense, and then we saw them respond in the second half. I mean, Arch Manning showed his toughness, gutsy performance, 6 of 8 for 128 yards in the second half, and ripped off that 35-yard touchdown run. But it was the throws that he made under duress while being hit that helped his team stay alive. And yes, there was some bust in the secondary for A&M, allowed some of these big plays, but that play right there, that big run for Arch Manning, that just set the stadium off. You saw Cooper Manning celebrating, that's my son. And so when you're doing stuff like this, playing above the X's and O's, you're showing your team that you're tough-minded. It shows the nation that Texas is to be reckoned with. They're playing their best ball down the stretch. And this game has shaken up, in my opinion, the college football playoff conversation that we were having extensively in the green room because of what we saw from Arch Manning tonight in the second half.
Look, now this win for Texas, right, is bad for Miami.
Yo,
because
definitely.
If you think about the Longhorns' resume, right, they have better wins, right? They don't have as many bad losses. Texas, do you believe at this current point in time they deserve to be in that top 12 the way they outhandled, right, Texas A&M after a poor first half?
Oh man, that's a great question and a unique situation for the college football playoff, because if you zoom out a little bit and you think about the ACC and who's going to get the auto bid per se for being the highest ranked conference champion out the ACC, but when you look at these at-large bids and you think about Texas and what Texas has done, look at this. You know, Texas's win is bad for Alabama. It could be potentially bad for, let's say, in Oklahoma, whom Texas beat.
Right.
So that's important. We know the Miami spot is primarily just a placeholder for the ACC guy, right? But my goodness, talk about a monumental upset that now shakes things up, because obviously Texas A&M may not be in that top 4, which puts them probably in the spot, let's say like a Bama or Oklahoma, which then opens up a spot for Texas to get in as well. So it makes it compelling, especially if Vanderbilt is able to beat Tennessee, because that makes Texas's case a lot stronger.
Just when we thought, you know, Friday wasn't going to bring any fireworks, Texas is able to get it done against the Aggies, their third AP top win this season. The last team to do that, the 2019 LSU Tigers. Now, obviously, nobody thinks this Texas Longhorns team is like the 2019 Tigers, but it does show you that they're able to answer the call when the moment calls for it, right?
And they did it without their star linebacker, Anthony Hill, who was out with a hand injury. And you saw a gutsy performance from Arch Manning, but a great performance from Trey Wisner. 19 carries, 155 yards on the ground, and he popped some big runs that helped continue to keep this offense on the field to where they got more chances, more swings at bat. And anytime you give an offense that many opportunities with the ball, Chris, great things is is going to happen. And again, on the other side, we saw a gutsy performance from Marcel Reed. We saw him fight through that ankle injury or lower leg injury. He came back, showed his mettle, showed his toughness, and you saw a good job by E.J. Smith popping a couple of runs. What it looked like A&M was about to regain control of the ball game. But, man, the defense couldn't get Texas off the field. And the turnovers by Marcel Reed late in the ball game ultimately doomed them in the end. Still a very good football team. They still have a lot of road out in front of them. A&M is still one of the top 12 teams in the country. But we were having a discussion, where do you drop A&M after this loss? Because they're 3, they lose to number 16. If you do the math, well, where do they go? And do they go behind Texas? Does Texas get into the top 10? So there's a lot to be discussed before Tuesday, which makes all of this so much fun as this thing continues to play out. Because this is only Friday. We still have tomorrow, Saturday, to go about in all these games that we talked about that have significant impact on the college football playoff.
Yeah, everything is heating up in November as we get into the month of December. Now, I do want to go back to the offense about the Aggies, right? This was a team that usually just was able to power over people, right? Or able to get it in the air attack. What did Texas do specifically, especially without their star linebacker, to shut them down? Because you felt like in this game, the Aggies, they were playing with their food a little bit, where Texas did not have any rhythm, but then the Aggies were not able to convert on those opportunities to really put this game away.
Texas won on first down. And when you win on first down, it makes third down even harder to overcome. A&M was 4 out of 13 on third down. So that tells you Texas's defense did a great job initially, because now, to your point, A&M was used to just rolling over people. And a lot of that comes from them being able to win on first down to where it becomes second and manageable, third and short. And when you're third and short with that offensive line and their ability to run the football with that stable of backs that they have, you're staying on pace, you're staying on schedule, you're staying in your mindset of who you are as a team. But when you take that away, now you put Texas A&M in a situation where they're going to have to throw on third downs, and that's not where they want to be, especially third and medium plus or third and long. And that's where Texas was able to win this ball game, getting them off the field, putting the ball back in the hands of their offense, and their offense just staying at it, finding ways. Their offensive line showed leakage in the first half, but in the second half, still showed some leakage, but Arch Manning was able to overcome some of that and find some big plays downfield. So I thought by the Texas defense, even without some of their stars, made plays that were there to be made on first down, and then we saw them just be able to be aggressive on third down, and it helped that Marcel Reed wasn't totally 100%, and Texas fed off that.
Yeah, and that's what you have to do. You have to capitalize on your opportunities, and the Longhorns did just that on Friday night. How about Arch Manning, though, going up against top 10 teams this season? So in home neutral sites, 3-0, teams averaging 28 points per game, over 300 yards, 6 total TDs, 0 picks. On the road, 0-2. That scoring took a huge dip. Same with yards per game, and very erratic with the football. And now let's go to somebody who took in the game. Stadium, 24/7 Sports National College Football writer Chris Hummer. And Chris, this was a game that was really a tale of two halves. In that second half, what did you see both in the atmosphere and just from an X's and O's standpoint that allowed Texas to shock Texas A&M and prevent them from having an undefeated season and going to the SEC championship?
Well, the atmosphere was electric. This is the first game here in 15 years. This is one of the biggest rivalries in college football, and Texas fans were in it the whole time. But I think it came down to Texas establishing the run. This is an offense that struggled to establish the run all year. Came into the week ranked 105th nationally in yards per play on the ground. Trey Wisner had his best game of the season, running for 155 yards. Arch Manning came up late, clutch with that touchdown he had, scrambling for 35 yards, the second longest run of the season. And Texas established the run finally against an A&M defense that has really succeeded in stopping it all year. And I think that made all the difference.
You know, let's go back to that 35-yard run that Arch Manning had, right? He was able to take advantage of Texas A&M, not really having a spy on him. But how loud was that stadium when he made that run to pretty much put the game away or make it a lot harder for Texas A&M to come back?
It was Mo Bamba level loud. That's how it felt. Like the stadium was going off. like the Texas fans were feeding off that energy. It was kind of like a release in a way. Like, Texas fans have had a very long season. It's been very up and down for the preseason #1 team. For Arch Manning to put the game in the way he did, it's just a huge moment for Texas and really pushes them into the playoff discussion that I think a lot of people didn't think they would be part of. So it was a huge moment, and Texas fans are still in the stadium right now cheering. The eyes of Texas just went off, and the vibes here are very good in Austin.
Yeah, they are 9-3 on the year right now, but they do have a really good resume, Chris. Would you bump out Miami, who's now slated at 12 at the current point in time, and move Texas into that range or even above that based on how they finished the season?
I think it's going to be dependent on how some of the teams play tomorrow, including Miami, but I think Texas has a very compelling case as a 3-loss team. As y'all know, a 3-loss team has never made the college football playoff, but Texas has put itself in a position with 3 wins over top 14 teams, 2 losses to top 5 teams, to really make a compelling argument for that. I don't know if the committee is going to leap them there, but I certainly think Texas has put itself well into the discussion and should, I think, maybe even arguably leap a Vanderbilt at 9-2 at least going into tomorrow. Michigan could lose. Then you got Texas probably in an argument with Utah and Miami to potentially get those final spots. So it'll be very interesting to see how the committee treats it.
So Texas came into the season ranked #1, and now they have a potential to perhaps sneak themselves into the college football playoff after taking down #3 Texas A&M. And on the Aggie side, Chris, how shocked were you that this offense, right, that is usually so high-powered, wasn't able to muster up the drives and convert when they needed it most? Because I know Marcel Reed had that leg injury, and he just didn't look as confident as he did in the previous half.
It was surprising. This is a Texas A&M team that's lived with big plays the whole season. I think they've had the 10th most plays of 20 yards in the country this year, and they only had 3 plays of 20-plus yards against Texas tonight. So they just could never really get going the way you see them do. And I think part of that's Texas's ability to take away the run. Texas is one of the elite run defenses in the country. Kind of took that element away from Texas A&M most of the night, and it put Marcel Reed in a pretty precarious position where he had to push the ball downfield a lot of the night, and he wasn't able to take advantage. And I do certainly think his leg injury probably played a role in that. He is at his most dynamic when he's on the move, and he just wasn't able to do quite as much of that as we usually see.
Not able to do it as the Texas Longhorns get the upset, a huge win, and doing a lot for their college football playoff hopes. Chris Hummer, always appreciate the insight, man.